Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Truth Podcast. My guest this week is Kayla Sluka, and we want to welcome you to the show. Hello there.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to this because we kept postponing. No, I'm kidding.
That's true,
No,
though.
just one day. Just one day.
Just once.
One day.
Just once.
I was exexhausted yesterday, so thank you.
Yeah.
That was nice.
You need to sleep.
Now, actually, I guess I don't. I found that out this week. So, we're on this show. We're very big into what's your story, and so I'm going to let you tell your story real quick.
Okay.
Like, real quick,
Okay.
40 minutes. Really
40
quick.
minutes.
I'm
Really.
just kidding.
Don't tempt me. I can keep talking forever.
This could go long.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Well, I grew up in a household where my mom always was super supportive of me. And I mean, my dad too. They got divorced, but they did really well on supporting me and my dreams. And I'm very, very artistic. So I've always been
Yes, you
into,
are.
yeah.
Yes, you are. You should see some of the logos this lady does and things.
Yeah.
She's really talented.
Yeah.
Anybody needs a logo done, just,
Yeah.
we'll probably put something on the notes
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, I've always been very artistic. Music is my number one passion. And so I've always just had a very supportive family. And I got bit by the travel bug when I was really young. Around 13, I went on my first international mission trip to Costa Rica.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So I fell in love with the idea of traveling and being in different cultures. And, the 9 to 5 was just never going to work for me.
Yeah, it wasn't doing it for you, huh?
Yeah. And so my mom had always kind of supported like being creative and finding a different way to be able to fund your life so that you could travel and see the world. And so that started really young as far as wanting to deviate, I guess, from a typical career. So I went to school for music and basically, yeah, that's the short version, but I've always kind of shied away from having a typical 9 to 5 job. I have had to do that on occasion when things get tough, but I always felt caged if I was in a 9 to 5. And like for some people, they love the 9 to 5. It's predictable. They like that. It's stable. And that was always like, if I ever had a job where I was going in at 9, checking in at 5, I was like, ugh. It was like 6 months in, and I was like, I'm ready to be done. I will do anything so that I can have the freedom.
I don't do the 9 to 5. I do the 7 to 3:30.
Oh, okay.
Or 3:20. And that's how I feel as well. I mean, right now I'm like just a caged animal, pretty much.
Yep.
And it's a point where I could be doing so much right now.
Yeah.
But I'm here for 8 hours.
Exactly.
Well, in other places, other countries and stuff like that, they do a thing where, if you get this much production done, you can go home.
Right.
If you do this, you could work from home, or you do that, you could do something different. But Western culture, especially Michigan, I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
They believe in you are there for 8 hours. If your machine goes down, pick up a broom.
Yeah.
If you're, it's such an old mindset to me.
Yeah. It's very much work until you die type thing.
Pretty
Just
much.
And torture yourself. And it's like, that's not how I wanted to live. And my mom always had I think she raised us to have a very good relationship with the idea of work. Like work is a good thing. We should work, but it shouldn't be this thing where it's so oppressive, and sure, the bills have to get paid.
Right.
But at the same time, don't you want to say that you did something that you cared about at the end of your life?
It's kind of, for me, it's leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
If I'm trapped from 7 to 3:20, I'm trying to do what I'm doing, be real. If I'm trapped in that, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I die, well, the job's gone because I'm not there to push the broom when the machine goes down.
Yeah.
So I have to come up with something different.
Yeah.
And I've always been creative as well. Always done all kinds of different stuff and like to do different things and dabble in everything.
Yeah.
But I've never really gotten paid for it. I've always just done things for nothing. And here, I'll just do this for you, and I'll do this voiceover thing, or I'll do that, whatever it is, fix your computer, whatever,
Yeah.
And I'm to the point in my life where I need to get over that.
Yeah.
And so this whole podcast is about crushing barriers.
Yeah.
And getting over yourself in a way.
Yeah.
So in some way, what's your story? The story is also not just what I've done, what I've been through, where I'm at. It is what's in the inside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What comes out of your mouth from your heart?
Yeah.
Does it, I can do it? I can't do it?
Yeah.
I'm afraid to do it?
Yeah.
I'll do everything else but this? You know. So that's part of your story. And the characters in your story are your parents, your friends, people around you. You had really good support. Now, others don't.
Yeah.
You know, others go with this is nuts. You need a 9-to-5 job. My mom actually did that. Not that that was a bad thing, but she's like, you guys need to get a job and do this and do that. And then right after that, they laid her off. Or they cut her hours and cut her benefits.
Yeah.
Started making, knitting stuff and selling it online, and was going to shows and stuff like this. And I was like, yes.
See, Mom. Yep. And I've definitely, there are people in my family that are very much, I've tried a lot of different times, I guess, going out and being completely an entrepreneur, no side hustles, that is my number one thing. And I've done a lot of stuff for free. I've failed plenty of times. But at the same time, I've been learning about the things that I'm actually passionate about too, so I've had along the way, as I'm doing that, I've had family members, I've had friends that are like, well, the responsible thing to do is to go get a job and all those different things. And I'm like, I mean, I get it. Definitely there is an aspect to that, but I was like, I can't do a 9-to-5 again.
Right.
I just can't do it. So I'm okay with working hard, but I try to find more creative ways. If I need to have a side hustle while I'm working on my entrepreneurial goals or dreams, that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Yep.
But I can't do it the traditional way anymore. I've just kind of found that it doesn't work for my personality, and I tend to make less money that way anyways. So.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, though, when you're bringing up responsibility. This is a responsible thing to do, is it? I don't know. I mean, I know it's the safest way.
Right.
The most secure way, maybe.
Right.
But is it the most responsible thing you can do for the people around you?
Right.
I don't know. Everybody's watching us.
Yeah.
The people that are out there, okay, we're on video, but I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
No, they're watching every step we take, every move we make, the police, anyway. But they're watching us. There we go.
It's a good song.
Yeah, it was. And it just popped in my head because at first I was going to say everybody's watching us. I'm thinking, okay, I'm singing the police song here. No, but they're watching everything that we do, because if we succeed, we can bring a lot of people with us.
Right.
That's what this is about. That's what this whole podcast is about. This whole YouTube channel thing I got going on is because I want people to get over their barriers, the things that are holding them back. And one of the biggest things that me and Andy talked last week, one of the biggest things that people are having a hard time with is working really hard for no money for a while.
Yeah.
That delayed gratification.
Yeah.
That's hard for people because we're trained to, get the paycheck. We work for the week, we get the paycheck the next week or the next week after if you're really unfortunate.
Yeah.
But that's what we're trained to do. We're trained to do that from school. We're trained for to a recess and to recess and lunch and all that. It's like 2 breaks and a lunch at work. It's the same thing. We were trained for 12, 13 years how to get a job or how to work at a regular job.
Right.
But we don't get trained at how to do this. So we're blazing our own trail, so to speak.
Yeah.
We're just out there, kind of mucking around until we figure it out.
Like, hopefully I'm doing something right. I don't
Right.
know.
But and people are afraid to fail. People are afraid to succeed, believe it or not.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But somewhere out there, because I have people, very successful people, say, okay, you know what, this is what I went through, and I hated doing this, and all of a sudden that was the best thing I was good at after a while.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
my big thing is I'm not that good at sales, so
Yeah.
it's my story that's inside that I have to break.
Yeah.
What kind of stories inside of you that you had to break through or get over to keep going on your journey?
Yeah. I think there's always things that I'm still going through, but I think, um, let's see, let's scoot back to, so I got married about 5.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm originally from New Mexico, so we moved back to New Mexico. And I worked in a church, and it went pretty poorly. It didn't go well, and so we ended up moving back to Michigan. And once I moved back to Michigan, Daryl, my husband and I, Daryl, um, we both kind of were like, okay, we got to pay the bills. We'll get another typical jobs. So he went to be a realtor, so that's very entrepreneurial.
Yeah,
And
it
then
is.
I went to be a bank teller because I had worked for this bank before back in college. And I think one of the things that I had to break was after working there for about 2 years. So that would have been, almost a year ago, I left that job. And once I left, I had to tell myself, like, that's the last time I'm having a 9 to 5. Like,
Mm,
I just need to accept, like, I'm okay having a part-time job or, but I can't do a 9 to 5 anymore. And just being able to own that and recognize that my personality doesn't work in a 9 to 5. It
right,
doesn't.
right.
I don't, I feel overwhelmed there. I become an emotionally very unhealthy person. I become
Hmm.
kind of a
Hmm.
shell of a person.
Hmm.
So I'm not against working hard, which I think a lot of people make fun of the millennial generation, of like, well, they don't want to work hard. And it's like, okay, I want to work hard. I just don't want to work hard in a 9 to 5 and make this much money and have
Exactly.
nothing to show for it,
Right, and no legacy, and no nothing for kids
Right,
and the future
right,
generations to
right,
maybe create more jobs.
right.
For those people who like to do that. I'm in the same boat as you. I feel, like I said, caged animal is probably the
Yeah,
best way to put
yeah,
it. And
yeah,
yeah, okay, so here's my life right now. I get up in the morning at 4 a.m.
yeah,
I try to read 10 to 20 pages of a book a day. I'm trying to do all this. I also
yep.
have a Lions podcast. I do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So I
know.
do that as well. And I try to get these interviews like with you and with KB and with Andy and Lynn. I've got like two more coming up. So I'm doing all that. But in the morning, I'll go to West Michigan Nutrition and
Yeah,
talk to some of the people there about 6 o'clock in the morning.
yeah,
And then I got to be to work at 7. And as soon as 6:30 hits, that dread starts coming
yeah,
in. To like,
yeah.
I just don't want to be. I don't mind being there for a while,
Hmm.
but till 3 something,
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but I become a very grumpy and angry person.
yeah,
I just do, and a lot of people take that as stuck up
yeah.
or you're arrogant or
Right,
something. Because at work, I don't want to do any overtime.
right.
And it was a big issue about that for a little while. And I was like, no, I'm already putting enough time into this place that I
Yeah,
need to have on my own.
right.
And they're like, well, you just don't want to help anybody out, and you just want to be this and you just want to be that. I was actually told that I was lazy. you
Yeah,
know they don't
yeah.
really understand that I'm doing all kinds of other stuff at home,
Right,
trying to make my own way. So
right.
anyway, so
Yep.
that's kind of my deal right now, and
Yeah,
I was identifying with you because
yeah,
I actually really know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And that was like, I mean, it was a big thing I had to kind of accept of like, I'm not doing this again. Like, I will hustle. I will. kind of like what you're doing. I'll get up as early as I need to and work
Yep.
as long as I need to. Like, it's not about not working hard.
Exactly.
It's about realizing that I'm going to be 30 next month and I don't want to do that for, I don't want to be
For the
working
rest
it.
of your life.
No.
Okay. So I started this podcast on my birthday. I
Oh,
turned
nice.
50.
Nice.
50 on the 25th of September. So that's when I launched the whole thing, and everything tried to come against me. So I wouldn't put that first one out there, and I
Yeah.
just went ahead anyway.
Yeah. That's
I'm
how
going to
you got to
get this
start somewhere.
done.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Well,
So,
I had Andy scheduled for the 28th of no, the he was a week before that, before the first show would go.
yeah,
And then of course they made me work Saturday so that I couldn't interview.
of
And then
course.
he had the baby and all
Oh,
this,
yeah, he
you
is
know, I'm like, oh my goodness. So then luckily, a friend of my wife's was on, um, she knew Lynn, and she's amazing. You have to go back. If you haven't seen that
yeah.
you got to
Look
see
at
that.
that.
It's really
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
But, so it just all worked out, but
good.
it didn't seem like it was going to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And really, I mean, that's what I'm trying to overcome now is I kind of overcame it's okay that I don't fit in a 9 to 5
Yeah.
or an 8 hour, whatever that space is for you.
Hmm.
Um, it's okay that I don't fit there. And it's okay that I'm willing to still work as hard as anybody else, just in a different way. So like I had to come to terms with that's okay. And people might say that you're lazy or stuck up or whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
but ultimately I know where I want to put my time and it's not behind a bank line. As a teacher,
Right.
that
That's right.
I'm an artist. I don't want to work in a bank.
Right.
It's like it's pretty obvious.
I had somebody listen to the show, a third shift lady, and she comes up to me and says, "What are you doing here?" She goes, "You really have a lot of talent." And I'm like, I guess, and I've said this to other people on the show so far. I've said, I don't think that we see ourselves as others see us.
No.
We look in the mirror, we see all our flaws, everything that's bad about us, and things we want to correct and do better.
Right.
But when others see us, they're like, wow, that
Yeah.
person's amazing.
Yeah.
We don't see that though.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
True.
something that we got to get over because our business is a mirror reflection of ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And
For
if
sure.
our business isn't growing, that's because we're not growing.
I know. I
It's,
always hate that. Like,
so that's part of it too. And so we're talking about obstacles, and tell everybody what kind of obstacles you faced getting out of the 9 to 5
yeah.
and trying to do things on your own. What's come against you personally, either internal or external? It's fine
Yeah.
which way you want to go. Just let everybody know what you've been through and how you've been overcoming that stuff, because you really want to get people to get to
Yeah.
that point where they can overcome and get over that hill.
Yeah.
I'm under it because I'm 50, but anyway, no, we really want people to
Yeah.
understand what it takes sometimes.
Yeah.
Just let you
Um,
go.
yeah, yeah. So really, since like Daryl and I's marriage has always been really great and which
Oh,
is
that's
awesome.
wonderful.
But like other than that, our life has been kind of fallen apart since we got married. So I've had plenty of
Okay.
obstacles, but I think it's made us stronger people, so it's okay. But like I said, I worked in a church, and my faith is really important to me. And so when it was just a really bad church hurt, and just a lot of rejection, a lot of just internal issues they had that didn't even really have to do with me, but I was part of the collateral damage.
Mm.
But because my faith was so important to me, and I worked in a church, and they were the ones that hurt me, it was a very my worldview was in some ways was shifted. It broke apart because that was always my safe place, that church community was always a safe place for me. And
Mhm.
so I really fell apart in many ways. I kept my faith, but I became very what's the word? Just nervous around people. And I've always been somebody who's a people person who enjoys talking to people, wear
Right.
my
So you're
heart
a
on my
little,
sleeve.
maybe a little wary of people.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I used to wear my heart on my sleeve and let anybody in, and like I wasn't afraid to let people in. And after that, it really became um, just very hesitant of people. I became very much a hermit, kind of like I didn't go out, I didn't talk to people. I mean, friends, family, like I just shut myself off from the world. So that was a really big obstacle because there were emotional things that were going on that I needed to work through, but it was so hard and so hurtful that I kind of retreated. And I mean, whether it's a hurt like I experienced or just rejection in any sense, sometimes that really derails you to a point where like you're barely functioning as a human. And that very much was me.
Hmm.
And that was a couple of years that I
Wow.
just kind of couldn't really re-engage in life, if you will. That's the best way to describe it.
Hmm.
Um, but I ended up going to counseling and was able to work through a lot of that stuff. I found a new faith family here, which I love, and they're supportive and just amazing. I found West Michigan Nutrition, so a lot of people there that are just awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
that is a place for me too. It's
yeah,
like a sanctuary for me as well. I don't know. It's just
yeah,
something that I'd like to do because I need enough positive energy to get through
yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
day.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So over the last, I would say 3 years, I've become healthy again. There are still kind of triggers where there are things somebody will say something or do something, and I have to remind myself, it's not the same. You're in a better place. You don't have to let that tear you down the way it used to. So that was kind of like my big emotional thing I had to wrestle. And because of that, I wasn't putting any time and effort into any of my passions, any of my creative passions. I just kind of went to work and came home and watched TV all day and then went to bed. And I mean, hey, I love binging just as much as the next person, but when that's all I'm doing, it was sucking the life out of me.
Right.
Um, and so that was kind of the catalyst for a really hard season. But then with that came really just some really hard financial times.
Hmm.
And just got to the point where we had never been in debt or anything. And now that's not the case, which is unfortunate. Life happens,
It does. It does.
progressively watching your just credit score just plummet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, it happens. So that was just an added stress. That was just something added on top of the emotional pain that I was dealing with. Um, we tried to do another fix and flip, which I talked to you about, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we're
Tell everybody about that. That's
yeah.
an interesting story.
So, I mean, we're doing this fix and flip in Muskegon. We're still trying to sell it, so this is proof that it was a very long journey. Um,
Yeah.
just we ran into a lot of like bad contractors, people who kind of just pulled the wool over our eyes, stole from us. We had somebody break in and steal all of our tools. All of the
Mm.
stuff that was left over that we needed to finish the house was stolen. Cool story is though that they ended up finding all of our stuff.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that. See, I knew that part of the story where they
yeah,
stole everything. I didn't know
yeah,
you got it back.
yeah. We
Oh,
got it
good.
back. It was really awesome. We ended up getting everything back. They found it. Um, but so maybe 3 or 4 months ago, we were like, all right, we're gonna finish this up. And we found out that the bathroom upstairs was completely rotted out. It was one of those things where,
Oh,
and we were out of money. Like
surprise.
we didn't have any more money. Like we ran out of money like ages ago to finish this project. We're like, okay, well, we need to replace the toilet. Something my husband now works at the plumbing department in Home Depot. So he was like, we can do this easy peasy little weekend project. Take the toilet off and it's like a little rotted around. We're like, okay, well, we'll just patch that up, and as you're patching that, just everything starts crumbling.
Oh, no.
So ended up needing to gut like the whole bathroom.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
but the thing that's so cool is, and this is just proof that um, emotionally I'm better because I had been engaging in my community. That
Hmm.
community stepped up and helped us finish that bathroom. Uh,
Aw.
it's like a huge blessing. So it's almost done, and hopefully it'll be on the market within like a month.
Oh,
So
that's going to be great.
yeah,
See,
yeah,
now that's another thing that I have found out. when you're facing challenges and you're in a community of people like us, you,
Yep.
Andy, the people that we know,
Yeah.
in our little circle of people, if you're going through something and it just seems like, oh my God, how am I gonna? All of a sudden, it just seems like something happens to where it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
The challenge comes up, and then I think maybe it's telling us that we can't do everything on our own.
Yeah. Yep. And that was, I mean, that was a huge, that's something that I had to learn from that previous rejection and that previous
Yes.
hurt,
Hmm.
was that I was so afraid to ever ask for help. And the truth is, with where we're at financially and all that, just a lot of stuff in our life has fallen apart, just like job loss and cars breaking and, people stealing from us and medical
Yeah.
issues and just a lot of stuff happened all at once.
Hmm.
And there's not enough time and there was not enough money to cover it. And we had to start learning to ask for help, which takes a lot of humility actually
It does.
to be able to
It
say,
does.
I can't do this. I'm drowning and I need help. And maybe it's just like I need a hug, or maybe it is like somebody comes in and pays, for your gas or your tires,
Yep.
whatever it is.
It
It could
happens
be,
though.
yeah.
And that's
So,
the thing and that's some of the thing. Hey, we're introducing a new person on the
yes.
podcast behind you. Here he comes. Oh, no, he left.
Oh my gosh.
Nope, he's sitting right in the
Smokey.
background. He can come on with us. That's fine.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
so it's like, I think things happen to us to test us, number
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I've heard that everything that comes against you makes you grow to another level.
Yeah.
And then you learn that you do need help. I think the biggest thing entrepreneurs deal with, one of them on the inside, is thinking they have to wear every hat in their
Hmm.
business. Do
Yeah. Oh,
everything
yeah.
yourself because you can't afford to pay anybody at this point. We're being real. That's it's Entrepreneurial Truth podcast. I mean, we're telling the truth. This
Yep.
is not easy. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it.
Yep. Oh,
But
for
it's
sure.
not. But
Yeah.
it's not.
Yep.
How many people quit on their dreams?
A lot.
Just a ton, because it is really, really difficult, but it's not impossible when you get
No.
in with people that can help.
Yeah.
And so that's part of that too.
And I think people fail, they try something and it doesn't work and they assume that a failure means it's the end. And it's like, okay, so you failed. And luckily my mom was so good as she raised us to be like, look, try it. If it doesn't work, try something else. Like it's not a big deal. So we always had that space to feel
Yeah.
free to like, hey, we're going to try this. And if it fails, like, it's fine. You just try something different,
My first taste, and I really don't talk a lot about myself on this yet, but my first taste of anything entrepreneurial was I was 13 years old, right? This is way back when the dinosaurs were still roaming. But no. But I had the idea, because all they had is G.I. Joe figures and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I had an idea for wrestling figures. What turned out it was a $6.5 million idea. Vince McMahon actually paid somebody $6.5 million for the idea. And I knew I had something,
Yeah.
but I didn't know how to do anything with it.
Yeah.
And there was other things that I had come up with and just in my mind, oh, that would be cool,
Yeah.
and stuff. I couldn't figure out how the patent thing,
Right.
it was just so expensive to go through all that process. And,
Yeah.
but it got me excited because one person had one idea and they got paid millions for just one idea,
Yeah.
Yeah. And not that happens all the time. And, you can
Right.
just get an idea. Everything's great. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that it happens. I mean, they were selling pet rocks, for goodness sake.
That's true.
If you can do that and make millions, I don't know. I think sometimes we make it harder than what it really is, but
Oh, for
maybe,
sure.
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I think so.
But that's what lit it for me. That's
Yeah.
what lit it for me. And that was years and years ago.
Yeah.
So you figure that 37 years ago,
Yeah.
right now, I'm still searching.
Yeah.
Still looking. And I think we as entrepreneurs, that's what happens, to us. It's like, oh, we try something that didn't work. We try something that didn't work.
Yeah.
We try this, that didn't work.
Yeah.
And you start to think, well, maybe it's me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Did you have to overcome fears like internal fears, and I'm talking about like I'm not good enough or that type of thing. I call it the imposter syndrome, where you
Yeah.
feel like, well, who's going to listen to me,
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Did you go through that?
Yeah. And I think I still struggle with it. That was maybe one of the biggest things that I work through counseling is from that rejection. I was always made, I just found the words to describe this recently, and it
Okay.
kind of gave me a light bulb. Is that I'm smart. I went to school. I feel like I know what I'm talking about with respect to within the context of what I know.
Hmm.
And but I was always made to feel like the dumbest person in the room.
Really?
Yeah, and I really don't think like
I
I
thought.
never want to say anything mean about that work environment because I think they were doing the best that they knew how.
Okay.
It was a mess, but you know, I don't hold it against them, but I don't think they were doing it on purpose. I really don't think so. I just think that there was such this intense, like, I want to be right. And they were feeling self-conscious that it was kind of
Mm.
as a,
Hmm.
as a side effect, they kind of belittled me. And so because of that, even though I knew I was like, I have these talents, I have these things that I want to give to the world and I feel like are good for the world, for other people, but I just feel so belittled that yeah, I mean that imposter syndrome, I still struggle with that of, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to amount to anything. There's no way I'm going to ever be able to accomplish anything. I have these big dreams, but then I kind of like see where I'm at and I'm like, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to do that. Like I know the steps. I know all the steps to take. I know all the things I need to be doing, but when it comes time to actually do them, you know, I
And
freeze.
I'll tell you, because in our subconscious mind, if we don't believe we can do it, we will sabotage
Right.
ourselves. And
Yeah.
so that action that you can't do, that's your subconscious or your insides sabotaging you, because
Right.
it's something in your life, somewhere in your life, something happened to where you either believe that that's something that you can't do, or it's something that you don't want to become on the inside. Like
Right.
if people told you that when you were younger or something, I don't know if this happened to you, but if people told you that rich people were bad, or
Yeah.
that having money was, greed, and all
Right.
these things, you inside you'll say yes, or outside you'll say, yeah, I really want to do that. I really want to give this to the world, and yes, I would love to make a ton of money, right?
Right.
That last one, that's the kicker,
Yeah.
because inside of you, you have to overcome every bad thing that was said about that. Because if
Right.
your subconscious is telling you, and I keep pointing here, sorry, but that's kind of where I
Yeah.
feel things are at. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's another story anyway.
Mhm.
So that's what will happen to you. You'll feel like on the inside,
Yeah.
pump the brakes on
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And that's the key that's telling you that there's something in your past that either is telling you you're not supposed to do this, or you don't deep
Right.
down want to.
Right.
I don't want to become the rich snob. All
Right.
these people were terrible to everybody. Why
Yeah.
would I want to become that?
Right. Right. And of course within the Christian community, it's very much big in, like you reject possessions, you reject money, it's not just
Yes.
when really if you look at a lot of the people who are in the Bible, a lot of them were given wealth so that they could give it all away to help others, you know.
It's the one that always got me was it's easier for a rich man,
Mhm.
or it's
Yeah.
easier for the camel to enter an eye of a needle than a
Right.
rich man to get to heaven. And I
Yeah.
was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So that'll block you. That'll stop you, because I want to be a good person. I
Right.
want to do
Right.
the right thing. And we have to overcome that. How do we overcome that? We love the people that
Right.
we serve more than we look at ourselves.
Right. Right. And I think that that's the thing, for me is I would like to be successful and I would like to have a decent sized bank account so that I can help people who have been in my situation. you know,
Mhm.
and there is a point where money can seriously taint you as a person. And so, yeah, of course, there's a fear of success because there's a fear of becoming the thing I don't want to become.
Exactly.
But then at the same time, I want to be successful because I can see it's like, I want to give kindness and goodness into the world, but I also
Right.
can see that there are things that could be fixed with money if somebody
Yes.
had money and had the heart for it. And
Well,
it's like those things
I
could be
think that
powerful.
I think there's something backwards that people don't understand. So in the Jewish faith, they believe that poverty is a sin.
Mm,
Well,
interesting.
because they shouldn't be a burden on the rest of the community,
Mm,
you know.
yeah.
And so I think if we look at it this way, that we're not taking from others, that we're giving, I don't think that's a terrible person. Do you see what I mean? I
Right.
don't
Yeah, yeah,
think that
yeah.
that's the wrong way to go.
Right.
And there's so often that happens where I've seen a lot of churches that the church is rich and the congregation is poor.
Right.
you know,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lots of
because of
those.
money and stuff and corruption, and we see that corruption,
Right.
power corrupts people, money corrupts people, and we don't want that to happen to us either.
Right.
So that's another one that we have to overcome and say, no, that's not me, and that's not who I want to become.
Right.
And I have morals and guidelines and things like that. So
Yep.
I think I'm going to be fine.
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean those are two fears for me even now that I struggle with is it's the fear of not succeeding in the sense that I'm not going to be able to do what I've always hoped to do, but then the other side of like what if I succeed and
Yeah.
I become tainted by
I become a jerk.
money, fame, right? I become a jerk. I forget about all these people that I said, "Oh, I want to help all these people," then I want to buy, dumb stuff instead.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand, and I think that it's really good for the listeners to hear this
Yeah,
because it is a fear. You don't want to become the thing you hate,
right.
and so you have to learn to find people that are wealthy and get
Right.
to know them.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, I 9 times out of 10, most of them are just tremendous people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I mean there are a lot of people. I have met a lot of people who are really amazing who live like you would never think they had millions in the bank, you
Right,
know. And then
right.
you end up kind of finding out through the grapevine or something that they're actually incredibly wealthy, and it's just because they're very humble, they live very humble lifestyles, they don't have the big house, all the fancy cars. They
Yeah.
just but they've just been really smart with their money and they've wanted to help people. And I'm like, that's the person I want to be right there.
Exactly. And if you have that, you can succeed. And that's the thing that I want kids listening to this, or people that are in that 9 to 5 that just said, you know what, I think it's time to punch out permanently.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Oh
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And there's a television commercial. This lady makes a cake and it says I quit on the cake.
Yeah, that's
Here's
pretty much
cake
how
to
I
the
felt.
breaker. She's all smiling and stuff. I don't want to do that because I can't make cake, but it is a pretty good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt.
So tell me a little bit about what you're doing now, and just various things that you're into, what you're
Yeah.
trying to do at this point.
Yeah. It's awesome that you asked me to talk because um I feel like I'm still in the middle of figuring it out.
It's
And
okay.
yeah, it really is okay. And I feel like right now I'm really focusing on trying to write and blog, if you will. I've got a couple of book ideas and different things like that I'd like
Nice.
to accomplish. Um,
Nice.
and I like to talk a lot about being in the middle. Like, what is it like being in the middle? Because you have lots of resources like this is how you start, or like you have resources like I'm a millionaire now, and these are all the things I failed, and this is how you can overcome those things. But there aren't a lot of people, except for as we're talking now, that talk about,
Right.
hey, I'm still figuring it out, and
Right.
something I'm owning right now is when people ask me like, hey, so what are you up to? I'm like, I'm still figuring it out. Like, I'm writing a lot and I'm working a
Nice.
lot to pay off debt because that debt is really in the way of being able to move forward.
Right.
So we're kind of trying to clean house, if you will, with like finances and finishing up the fix and flip and getting that. Because once that is set aside, then that burden is gone and that gives us more time for other things.
Exactly.
Um, so I'm focusing a lot on writing, but then I went to school for music. So I've been working with a friend in Nashville, just doing some
Nice.
just doing some projects here and there. So when I left my job as a bank teller a year ago, I had told everybody I'm going to do photography and graphic design full time. Like I had all these clients lined up. I was all ready to go.
Oh, I remember that. I
Yep.
remember the graphic design part. I remember that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think you were just getting out of it.
Yep. So like I was like, "Oh, I'm leaving my job. I'm going to do this full time. I can do this, I am an entrepreneur clocking out for the last time." And like within 3 months by December, I had zero clients. I had zero money and all of my savings, which was non-existent to begin with. But the little that was there was gone.
Wow.
So it very quickly I was realizing that as much as I love photography and graphic design, they were more of hobbies, and I didn't want to pour 24/7 into it. I didn't have enough passion behind it. Like they're
Makes
fun. I
sense.
enjoy it. I still do it. I still do it on occasion.
Right.
But by failing that way, it also kind of cleared my vision of like, I love writing and I love music.
Hmm.
I like doing those things. And so it,
Right music. No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah, well, I do. I've written music in the past and stuff. And it's like, okay, so why am I trying to run away from what I really am passionate about? So kind of what I'm doing now is figuring it out. And
That's okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
love that.
I'm writing a lot of music when I can and hopefully gonna start releasing some. And that's another fear of like just letting it out there and doing my
Wow,
best.
you're gonna release your own music.
Yeah, I mean
Oh,
I've always wanted to be an independent artist and a music
right.
recording artist. I've always wanted to do that even when I was in high school, and I kind of because of fear, because of people telling you I can't do it, whatever it is, I kind of put that on the back burner. And, photography was fun and it's a huge like thing now. Everybody does it. So I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. That's what I'm passionate about. But then, but then by, throwing myself wholeheartedly into it, I was reminded of that original passion of like, music is what you went to school for. That's always been your passion. It's your greatest gift. Why are you pursuing something else,
I've
you
heard
know.
that. I've heard that when you fail, it's just a thing where it says this is the opportunity for you, and it gets you one step closer
Yeah,
to finding what it is that you really want to do.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's what I'm doing now is slowly defeating fears, a long, long line of fears and lies that have been told to me that you can't do
Hmm.
this and you're
Hmm.
unable to do this and the market
Hmm.
is too saturated and you're too old or whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yep.
Whatever it is, I'm kind of overcoming those things. So right now I'm, trying to write more music and do more writing. And trying to overcome the fear and put it out there. So right now I have a lot of stuff written, but
Okay.
I need to put it out there.
Yeah,
And
you do.
that's my next step. I know.
So here's kind of the thing too. I love what you were saying about there's not much stuff about people in the middle
Mhm.
and how do you overcome that. And that
Yeah.
I think is part of this show.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I think it's part of because I'm in the middle. I feel
Yeah.
that way too. I feel the same thing. Whereas I do stuff that sounds really impressive and stuff, but I'm not getting paid for any of it yet
Yeah.
or doing it. I'm so honest with people. I just tell people the truth, so it don't
Yeah.
matter to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I'm a full-time shopper, so I grocery shop for people.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
but it gives me all the flexibility that I need to be able to work when I need to, but really kind of focusing on getting financially stable so that, you know, we can have the space, to be able to pursue some things, maybe take some more risks,
Yep.
you know. But right now it's like I think something I'm learning is like you don't need to have a lot to
Right.
start,
Yeah, I
like
did.
you know, like I was thinking about, I had to sell all of my camera equipment and stuff like that because we had to pay bills. And that was really hard. That was very humbling because it was,
Hard.
I told everybody, look, I'm going to do
Yep.
this and
Yep.
look what and then it was like 3 months later, I was like, okay, I'm selling all of my equipment because I can't buy
Afford it.
groceries.
Oh wow! But you know what? That is the thing, though. I mean, we get stuff, and we get stuff to support what we're doing, a microphone, mixer,
Right.
a computer, and all the stuff
Yeah.
that I have to be able to do this show, and the Lion show that I do.
Yeah.
And that was another thing. I mean, I was trying to figure it out. So I
Yeah.
did the Lions thing. That's a passion of mine. It's a hobby also,
Yeah.
but I'm very good at sports. I have a
Yeah.
good sports mind. So I go on and I do a show every week about that. But I told my broadcast partners and that I said, this is a test. This is to get me to learn how to do all this stuff because I'm
Yeah.
really passionate about entrepreneurism and this is what I want to do later. And then
Yeah.
I just decided it's time.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
just go for it,
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's something I'm learning. Like I do these, it's called Kayla Tries Weird Fruit.
I've
It's just
seen
like,
that. I've actually watched that.
yeah, I mean, it's so goofy, but it was a way for me to to push myself and to do more video.
Yep.
Because video is really a big thing. And I would like to do more music in that way and do more just like encouraging, speeches, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
I felt like I can't do this. I mean, everybody feels that way. Videotaping themselves is like, this is weird. So
Yeah. It is.
I did this like silly thing just to get me to do something, just to,
Yeah. Yeah.
just put myself out there. And the thing that's so crazy is like people love it. I'm like, how is that like a thing that people like?
I'll tell you, it is entertaining.
Yeah, I don't know
Because you've
why.
never
But
tried this before, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that was a bad one. I think
Yeah.
people are looking for the fails here. No, I'm kidding.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Serious. Holy
Yeah.
cow, her expression there was not really,
Yes.
really that great
Yes.
for that one. And we know
Yes.
never to try that fruit.
Yes,
So.
exactly. But what it's done is given me the confidence
Hmm.
to start making other videos, like speaking on my past hurts and my past rejections and what we're talking about here. Like, how
Yeah.
are you overcoming your fears and talking about like, hey, I left my 9 to 5 and I was like, hey, look at me, I'm gonna go conquer the world, and then 3 months later I was like, okay, I need a job because that didn't work.
The world just kicked my butt, and I'm back.
Yep,
So.
like hello.
I mean, and it's okay. I mean, I think it's okay to
Yeah,
fail because we get closer to what we want to do. And that's the same thing I'm doing here, I mean, like I did my Lion show and that we had like 6,000 listeners a week for a
yeah,
while.
that's
And it
cool.
was doing really, really well. And then Facebook changed the algorithms. I think we only had like 100 or so after that. It was crazy how bad
Yeah.
it got. But I'm thrilled doing it.
Yeah.
I'm it's not, but I can't say it's not my passion, but this is. I mean,
Yeah.
this is it right here
Yeah.
for me because it's helping the people that are stuck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
almost like you. I mean, so
Yeah,
you
me.
need to watch some of these.
I
You know,
need
I'm
to
just
watch.
kidding.
I need to listen to myself.
Exactly. We'll play this back for you and
Yes, I'll take notes.
take notes. Yeah, you take notes and stuff.
Yes.
No, but I think it is about self growth,
Hmm.
self development. They call it personal development, whatever. I mean, I hear that all the time. But I think it's trying to overcome the stuff inside of you.
Yeah.
The fear, the stuff.
Yeah.
And I say, what's your story? And people will tell me a bunch of different things about them, about what they do, and what that's their thing. What's the deeper story? What do you speak out of your mouth
Hmm.
that you're telling everybody else about yourself? Like, I can't do it, and I haven't done it, and I don't know how, and all these things. Let's try to change our story.
Yeah.
'Cause that's possible. If you were bullied, if you were hurt, if you were abused, if you were all these things that people really get traumatic
Yeah.
fear from,
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be your story.
Right.
Your story can change.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to get to in this. You
Yeah.
know, I'm really deeply passionate about people changing the story that comes out of their mouth, that's in their heart. And when they go to bed or they're in the closet or wherever it is, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That
Yeah.
prayer closet. So I guess that's where I was going with that. But anyway, kind of came out weird though. Think about it.
Well, you know.
Wherever they're at, where they're one-on-one with themselves.
Yeah.
And they can truly be realistic with themselves. A lot of people cry.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are, you know, just are so stuck.
Yeah.
You know, in the past, in past hurts, in fear, in all these things, almost like you're trying to walk in quicksand.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
want to help people that are so stuck and so like their heart's been just like that.
Yeah.
The inside,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know very well.
and help them to change that.
Yeah.
And change their story, and that's what this is all about. Okay, I'm going to ask you another question because we got really deep there for a minute.
Yeah, that's all right.
I like it. I like it.
I know, me too.
What advice would you give to people that are just starting out? Because you're in the middle right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you give? What advice would you give to someone who is still working the 9 to 5 and is trying to make that decision, and how do they overcome that fear of the steady paycheck and the income and all that stuff, and any advice that you give those people?
Yeah. You know, one of the main things that I think I would tell them, and something I'm learning again this time around, you know, like my 100th time around trying something new, is like I would simplify. Like, try to figure out, like, what is your vision, like your overall vision, and maybe it shifts over time, because certainly it's shifted for me before. But you know, maybe you've got an idea of like, I'd really love to do this. I would whittle down to like, what are the absolute necessities that you need?
Exactly.
You know, and stick with that, because I think even right now, it's very easy to get stuck in this, like, well, I need to get, you know, this super, super fancy website, and I need to get all of these things. And so then you end up spending a lot of time and money on all of these peripheral things, where it's like, yes, those are things you might need like 10 steps down the road. But ultimately, you know, if you want to do this, you can start with your phone.
Yep.
And just record a video and put it on Facebook and Instagram.
That's
you
amazing.
Can start there. You know, it's so easy to, you know, I want to be a basketball star, so I'm going to go get, you know, all of the high fancy equipment. It's like, okay, ultimately you need to have the skills. And you could have the rattiest shoes, you can have the worst clothing that has, you know, that you bought from Walmart, whatever. The Nikes aren't going to make you jump higher. The Nikes aren't going to necessarily help your form, you know, shooting a free throw. You know, that is skill. You know, what is what do you need? You need to put in time. You need to put in practice. And I think it's very easy to get bogged down by, well, I need all these new technologies, and I need to take this course, and I need to do this and this. Absolutely. I totally believe in investing in yourself.
I do too.
But like, if you are at the point where you don't have a lot of money, or like me, where you're in a lot of debt because you tried and you failed, simplify it. You know, it's like, for me, all I need is a blog and to be able to write. Like, that's all I need. I don't need the newest iPhone. I don't need a brand new computer. Are those things nice? Are those things I want to invest in that will help my business later? Sure. But starting off, you just need your passion and time put into developing your skills. Don't get so distracted by needing all these fancy things. And all those fancy things aren't bad, and maybe they're things to invest in later, but don't get so bogged down by having all those things that you never start, because that's what happened with me multiple times. It's like, well, I need to have this course and I need to do this Facebook thing and I need this app and then this thing. And then what ends up happening is I'm so bogged down by learning all of these new things that then I just stop.
And I think I'm going to tell you what I think that is. It's just a guess.
Yeah.
It's fear.
Yeah.
It's fear.
Yeah.
Because if you go to find the bright, shiny object, you're not putting yourself out there.
Right.
And
right.
the longer you don't put yourself out there, and maybe it's even subconscious, maybe it's not like, on the surface, but if you feel, I'm going to tell you what I feel. I'll tell you how I know when something's wrong. So my heart will kind of like do like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'll get this like rapid heartbeat and a little bit of like tense, like pump the brakes type thing. I said that earlier. Yeah. If you feel that, then the direction you're going is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, that's what you have to do. Because everybody does that. I mean, maybe not everybody, but everybody I've talked to, hey, it's like, well, I can do this and I can get the computer and I can get the new microphone and I can get all this other stuff.
Exactly. Yep.
Right? Because that's not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not doing the day-to-day things that you need to be successful.
Yeah.
Like the 80-20 rule, basically.
Yeah.
Where it's like 80% nonsense and 20% of what we do actually really affects our business.
Yeah.
Cut out the nonsense.
Yes, exactly. And I think it's something I still am fighting against is, especially like Instagram is a huge thing. And I want my Instagram to look nice and professional. But right now I got rid of all of my camera equipment. So all I have is my iPhone. And I was so freaked out by that. It's like, it's fine. Your phone takes fine. They take good pictures. Right? Why are you freaking out? But it was like, well, maybe if I can find a way to upgrade to the newer iPhone, that would help. And, and then it just had to get to the point where I was like, Kayla, you can take a really nice photo with the phone you have now. It doesn't matter if it's 5 years old.
But I might,
it's fine.
See if this helps you. Okay. So you vibrate at a certain frequency, basically. Mm-hmm. The people that are at your level or the people that are just, they'll feel that connection with you.
Yeah.
You won't need the fancy equipment.
Right.
You won't need any of that stuff.
Right.
You're going to reach the people you're supposed to reach because you're who you are.
Right.
Not because of the stuff you have.
Right.
So just letting you know.
Yes. Yes. I mean, that's so good. I was just thinking yesterday, with me working with Shipped and everything and just feeling like I have so little to give time-wise, monetary-wise, all those different things. But I was realizing the other day, like I have my smile. Yes, and I was walking through Meijer and I know almost all of the employees now, and they all stop and say, "Hi, Kayla, how's it going?" And we chit chat and all those different things. I'm like, a lot of people who are employees, especially in some kind of customer service, like they're often looked over.
Yes.
Right. And I'm just kind of thinking like, I don't have much to give, but like I can give that brief moment of letting that person feel like they have value and that they're seen. And it's like, just start there.
That's awesome.
That's so, so good.
But the one thing you said in your story right there was that I have very little to give. And that's not true. That's not true at all.
I got to change that.
That's not true at all. And because it's like, I don't know you as well as I know like Andy and all them other people.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked, a little bit here and there. Yeah. But I know this. I know you connect with people.
Yeah.
I know that you, I don't know what it is. You have this personality that everybody wants to talk to you. You know what I mean?
I know it's kind of toxic sometimes.
Yeah, but that's good though.
Yeah.
Because when you're putting yourself out there, you're attracting those people to you and what you have to give. And see, when you start figuring out what the world needs from you, you'll be able to give it very, very easily, and people will be able to receive it because you have that connection with people.
Yeah. Well,
it's a gift. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody lights up the room and stuff, or things like that. You do. So that's what I see anyway. Like I said, we look in the mirror and we don't see it.
Yeah.
We don't see it. We don't see, oh, I'm a professional. No,
Yeah.
I'm just me. We don't see that, but other people look at you like, holy cow, that was great work on that design that you did.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
know.
that's
Hmm.
really cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
And like the podcast or something, that the lady
Yeah.
that comes up, why are you even working here? I'm like, I don't know.
That's a great question.
No, and the thing is because that whatever you get fulfilled at, whatever you find where you're in the middle here,
Yeah.
you know, I think you're going to do very well when you find it.
Yeah. I'm
It just,
excited to find it, I'm excited to hit my stride, you
yep.
know.
Yeah, you and me both, actually, because that's kind of the thing
Yeah.
for both of us here. But this is my journey to try to find out not only more about myself, and maybe I help other people too through this show. I don't know. I mean, tonight I'm giving more advice, and stuff, and
Yeah.
with others, I've kind of sat back and just said, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's thing is so amazing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have much to add here.
That's
But
funny.
I think that we all have inner, maybe, I don't know, demons is a good word, but
Yeah. That's a good
the
way of
thing
saying it.
the things that hold us back. How do we get over that? How do you get over that? Tell me how you get over that personally. How do you go and overcome those inner feelings, like when you're pumping the brakes, that type of
Yeah.
feeling? What do you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah. So for me, like I've said before, like, my faith is very important. So part of that is a spiritual thing that I pray about, and I bring that to God, and we kind of hash it out. And sometimes it's like a really great conversation where, it's very deep and like, Lord, this is what I'm feeling. And then there's other times where I'm like, God, I don't know what you're doing, and I'm so mad, and I'm upset. But I just have an open, honest conversation and just kind of like let it out, and we hash it out. And so there's that. But then I've also, as I've become healthier emotionally, I've surrounded myself with women who speak truth into my life. So I meet with a group of women every Friday morning, and we just kind of talk about what's going on in our life.
Mm,
Something we talk about a lot is what has made us mad, sad, or glad. Just kind of like
I
trying to,
like that.
yeah, just kind of like pinpointing, like, were there things this week that really bothered you? Were there things this week that like just made you super happy? Or like, were there things that just you just were really sad about? And it just helps like pinpoint, well, what's going on there? Like, what's going on in your heart? And so we work through those things together. And that way, when we say things like, I just feel like I'm never going to amount to anything, you
Mhm.
have this group of people that are saying, no, this is where I'm seeing you're succeeding. This is where I'm seeing you're doing well, and then
Nice.
we just keep
Mm.
we just keep in touch with each other throughout the week and week to week, so that we're checking in on each other, and you have somebody who's actively saying, no, you're saying bad things about yourself, and that's not true.
I have
This
that
is,
too.
yeah, yeah, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
have some of
this is
those
what's
people
true.
too. I
Yeah.
actually, there's one lady named Deb that works with me, and she says you will succeed, and I
Hmm.
said I hope so. And she says you're being negative. And I'm like, no, I really hope. And I thought about it, and she was right.
Yeah.
And she says you need to say I will succeed, and I
Yeah.
couldn't write it.
Yeah.
So I knew that was a block. I knew
Yeah.
that was a block of mine. I got to get
Yeah.
over. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's,
So
I mean, that's, yes. Yeah. So those are two of my big things, is like, as I got healthier emotionally, I was able to let people in. And, I always tell people, like, it might be your family, it might be friends, it might be a counselor. It just needs to be somebody who's going to speak truth into your life, that's going to butt up against those fears and say, no, that's not true. This is what I see of you. This is what's true. And then I think the last thing that I do is like, I just jump in, you know, like,
mm,
sometimes I hesitate, but how I overcome those fears is like, you just got to do it.
yeah, like
It's
Nike.
like, yeah, exactly, exactly. It's like, I I didn't want to do videos of myself, so I just did a stupid video about eating fruit. And it was like, but now I
But
don't feel,
actually, I think that's pretty cool. To be like, just being
yeah,
honest, I thought that was pretty cool.
yeah. But the thing is, now it doesn't feel so scary. Like if I want to do some videos, I don't feel scared about it because I was
Right.
just like, I'm just gonna do this video about me eating fruit. Ah.
And now you're on here pouring out your feelings to people you don't know.
Right.
See? You're doing really good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's really good. It is because it's hard because you don't know who's going to see this. You don't know, things like that.
They're like, oh
And
my gosh, Kayla.
it's a challenge. It is. It's a challenge. I had a personal issue with video, and it's not an issue that I don't want to be on video. It's just every time we did the Lions thing, it wouldn't work with the microphones. I had this $300 camcorder little thing that I'd bought before, and I thought, I'll use it for this, perfect, It didn't work with the computer. It didn't work with the mics. The videos were terrible. Everything was awful. And every time I went to do a video, something went wrong.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
So that was my big struggle. And now I have a YouTube channel. It's only video.
Yep.
So it's like, whoa.
Yep. And I was going to say, with the just jumping in and doing the fear, whatever your fear is, one of the things I've started doing, which has helped, is I weigh in the balance, like, what is the life that you want and what is the life that you have now?
Yeah.
And then you have to just kind of weigh, like, do you want to stay where you're at?
Right.
And if the answer is no, then you're gonna have to just do it.
Yes.
Here's
another one. And maybe you'll add this.
Yeah.
Who is the person that I was going to serve that if I don't do this will get lost?
That's really good.
Who's the person? Create an avatar, if you will, and say, who's that person that is struggling, that needs what I have to give them, and if I quit now,
right,
what's that going to do to that person?
Yeah. That's a good one too.
Yeah, I use that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
So that is just something to add to.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good one. Yeah, I like it.
But I love the conversation. I think we could talk probably all night, but I think it's probably not going to happen. I need sleep.
You need to sleep at some. Yeah.
I don't know. But I really appreciate you coming on. It was amazing talking to you. I think it was a really good show. Anything else that you want to tell people about you or about what you do? Maybe we got like a website, somewhere to find you and what you do.
Yeah, so I have a website. So I just call myself Treasured Roots. It's a name I came up with a long time ago, and it has a lot of meaning to me. It's a long story, but Treasured Roots. So if you can find me on Instagram at Treasured Roots Studio, or just on the website www.treasuredroots.com. And so you'll find my stuff there. And I blog and talk about fruit, apparently.
Talk about fruit.
I do have a song that's coming out hopefully in a couple of months that I did with a friend. So
awesome.
If you follow me on, Instagram or Facebook or anything like that, eventually I'll post that. So.
And I would like to have you on again when you're not in the middle.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
When you're not in the middle anymore, when you're more on the road to or being successful at that moment.
Getting paid to do what I love.
Paid to do what you love. And that will happen for you. That will happen for you.
It will happen for us.
Us. Yes. It will happen for both of us.
Yes.
So really appreciate you coming on. I am going to have you on again because I really believe that there will be a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And so I want you back when that happens. I really, really do. I want to get to the after middle, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like that too. So
after middle, I don't know.
After middle.
All right, everybody. Another awesome show. We appreciate you coming on, and we will do this again. This has been the Entrepreneurial Truth Podcast, and I will see you next week. You want to say goodbye to everybody? You can do that too.
Bye. Thank you so much for having me. It was great.
All right.